Hello and welcome to the to Multi Movie Monday, and today is Get the Girl Day. I'm your host, Wade the Universe, and this is a series, in case you're wondering, or in case you're new to this channel. Multi Movie Monday is a series where we will be taking a look at two, three, or four movies that all follow the same pattern or similar theme. And today is Get the Girl Day, which involves our likely hero, or heroes in some cases. They are trying to get the women of their dreams in the weirdest of ways accomplished. And believe it or not, the two movies, one's an OVA series, actually have something in common. But let's take a look at our Get the Girl Day with our first John Hughes successful comedy, Weird Science. Our movie stars Anthony Michael Hall, who some people might remember him better from The Breakfast Club, as well, and also as well as John Kapolis. And as you can see for this series, this is when they were in their younger years. But these two guys have a problem, aka a really kind of big, obscure, and really nonsensical problem. They're dorks and they can't seem to get the girl. So Gary, Anthony Michael Hall, hatches a unique plan. With all their technology and everything combined, they intend to make a woman who will do everything that they ask of her: sexual acts, answer their everyday questions, etc., etc. And to be frank, this actually works, but it turns out funnier than you expect. Their cyber babe, named Lisa, played creatively by the supermodel Kelly LeBrock, is given life and form. And while she is intended for Wyatt's and Gary's sexual purposes, that never officially happens in this movie. Aside from a basic shower scene that doesn't show anything, because of course it doesn't, Wyatt and Gary never used Lisa for sexual gains. See, while Wyatt and Gary have invented Lisa, that much is true, she's not used for their own purposes, but rather she's trying to get them to grow up and learn how to take care of things themselves, in the John Hughes way possible. And also, despite being nerds, they do have a thing to worry about in Wyatt's older brother, known only as Shad. And yeah, he's pretty much an asshole, but that's given for this movie. So, Weird Science, basically in a total, is all about Gary and Wyatt trying to get the girl, with the help of Lisa's assistants. Now, at first, Lisa does seem like she'd only be that type of woman to only go for, anything and everything of the sexual act, but that's not entirely true. While yes, she does make it an apparent joke, especially with Wyatt and Gary's other two love interests of the film, Wendy and Millie, she doesn't actually officially tell everybody that she slept with them or did anything of sexual action to them, which actually gives the film a little bit something sweeter, including when Gary later on said that Lisa is like a sister to him and Wyatt. Things aren't made better when Lisa ends up creating a simulation for the boys to get courage and trust in themselves, and she does it by summoning a biker bar with Jupiter from the Hills of Eyes. Yeah, he's in this in case if people didn't know. So they end up taking care of them in the most machoist way possible by going all Clint Eastwood on their ass and pulling out a frickin' 44 Magnum. I'm so dead serious. It's pretty damn impressive, but they thought that this was a squirt gun as made a joke earlier in the film. But in this scene,
What? Where the hell did you get that thing? Squirt gun, man.
I think what's even funnier after they get rid of the gain is that the woman, Jupiter, and the guy with the half of a middle face all apologize for what happens and say that they want to make up for it. It's kind of the funniest part of the movie. And strangely enough, as you would probably not believe me, Wyatt and Gary do in fact get the girls. That actually does happen. See, the girls think that they were very sweet and innocent and on their own and didn't need Lisa to perform their duties because they could have done it themselves being charming young men that they are. I know that it's not a lot to go off of for this film, but to be fair, it does give the film its own sense of variety, and I'd recommend Weird Science any other day. It's a John Hughes classic and a lot of people can view it as such. In case if you're thinking that everything goes off the walls and over the rails and whatnot in this movie, oh please, it's just a sci-fi comedy. There is nothing that really goes that far over this, I have to say. Well, only in a few areas at least, I have to say, but still, Weird Science is what it is, a funny sci-fi comedy, and also a sex comedy, and a pretty good one at that. And it kind of ends as you'd expect, with Lisa leaving as Wyatt and Gary had learned to grow up without her needing to, be there for them. So again, if you're getting into weird science, just know what you're getting into, but it's a pretty good sci-fi comedy, and a pretty good get-to-go film all the way around, and all things considered. It has a great director with a great story, and great actors and actresses, including Kelly LeBrock herself. Well, of course, everything considered, there is more to weird science that we'll talk about in just a bit here. But rather, we're going to move on into the next film in the category, which is actually an original video animation with 2 episodes long. So it could still be considered viewed as a movie, as we'll be taking a look at the anime known as Eiken. Or is it Eiken? I'm kind of confused. I don't know how you pronounce it. Would it be Eiken or would it be Aiken? I'm just gonna go with both of them and say that it is what it is. So let's take a quick look at Eiken and see if this measures up to Weird Science. Eiken, or Aiken, begins with Densuke going to the Senshono Academy, where he is introduced to his lover/interest of the movie, Shaharu, in the most awkward way imaginable. Which leads him in meeting the Eiken Club and meeting his own version of Lisa from Weird Science, Miss Karika. And yes, this is very similar to Weird Science. He ends up meeting with the Eiken group, specifically Miss Karika, who does want to help him get the lovely Shiharu. And she does this in her own way, while Densuke trying to figure out his way of getting the girl. Yes, it's very similar to Weird Science, though. So Miss Karika and the other Eiken girls tell him to go to the pool or the fountain, where she's usually there recollecting her thoughts and, as they say, quote, cooling off her melons, where he's trying to apologize to her for the earlier inconvenience, but it turns out Shiharu likes him as much as he likes her. But after everything seems to fail on poor Densuke, Karika has another idea when it comes to the school's Eiken games. She decides that he should attend and, try to get the lovely Shiharu this way. And as you'd expect, this kinda doesn't work. Up first is the competition of going down the yogurt slide. Because you have to have a sex innuendo somewhere in this, as Shiharu said one of the sweetest lines that she trusts Densuke not to hurt her, as he agrees that he will never. But things don't bode well for the lovely Shiharu, as she's upset that Densuke allowed her to get hurt during the entire yogurt incident, so she runs off crying. She ends up running into what I assume can only be a my mask in the second part of it, who promises that he will help her. And of course, Karika's trying to do the same thing as the rest of the Eiken girls are trying to tell him that, yeah, he can win, but it won't be easy. Densuke actually does pretty well, and he manages to make it to the finals. But he knows that the final challenge is going to be the hardest part behind it all. So he gets intervened or met and encouraged by what I can only assume is Sailor Moon, because she looks almost just like the old meatball head. Sure, why not? Before this final challenge, everybody is in their bathing suit to ride in a banana boat down a chocolate water slide. Did you get that this has sexual innuendos yet? Because if you don't, just look at the cast. And Densuke and Shiharu and the guy that's actually cheating during this just to get Shiharu's lovely breast manages to get on. But Densuke and Chiharu actually both end up winning together and getting a spa day together as they both end up falling in love. While yet Densuke and Chiharu are probably interested in each other in a sexual way, they never once take it up on the sexual action or to react to each other in that way. Eiken or Aiken, for what it's worth, is a sex comedy and is full blown out of sexual innuendos, but the ending is what makes it better when these two end up together. While they don't do anything sexual, you know that these two are looking off into the stars, imagining of life together, and just being in love, fully and together, as Densuke finally realizes he got the girl he always wanted by himself. Well, all things considered, I have to talk both truthfully about both of these. Weird Science is a great sci-fi comedy that showed to show the purpose of what would happen if a person, basically at this point a teenager or a young adult, creates their own version of the perfect woman. Does it go the way that they intend? Or does it blow up completely in their face? What's funny to know is that you might have seen this movie in other places. Batman Beyond did an episode called Terry's Friend Dates a Robot that is very much inspired by Weird Science. You have seen parodies all over the place of somebody trying to recreate this successful movie. There are a lot of parodies out there, my friends. So Weird Science, I would have to say, is probably the best example of how to do a get the girl comedy in the right way. While Wyatt and Gary do create the perfect woman, she is not one to use for sexual actions, although yes, similar to Eichen over here, they both include sexual aspects and basically some sexual innuendos, but it doesn't go anywhere aside from a few jokes made here and there. And also speaking of Eichen, it's also the perfect get the girl sex comedy as well. While being a 2 episode OVA and it's very sexualized as you can see from the DVD cover, it never goes into that territory just with a few sexual innuendos thrown in here and there, but it's not anything too extreme, mind you. So for both of these, I highly recommend both of them if you can find them because they are great. And also you can get Eiken on Amazon for basically $20 and remastered too, which makes it kind of look better. And you can get Weird Science basically anywhere. AMC had been showing it a lot during the 80s weekend montage, so pretty much you can see it almost anytime that you want to for free or, pay for it if anything. Next time though, next week is Justice Never Died Day, where we'll be taking a look at superheroes who have died to come back to life to seek revenge or to get justice back on those who wronged them. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And thank you guys for joining me on this Multi-Movie Monday. And I hope to see you guys next time, because remember, 20 more Mondays, 20 more movies. So until next time.